I don't know. It's hard to think of ranged, good right clickers that can synergize well with Faces of Void. I guess maybe okay. They banned TA, so that one's out.
Oh, is that a Forev win range or is that a Bulbul win rate?
They'll probably see what the matchup is in the top lane.
Yeah.
But I would prefer the Clockwork, I think, to...
10 seconds remaining.
I don't think Wind Ranger's that great of a roamer.
Could you like dual lane them together, I guess, too?
Oh. Oh, Viper's a good matchup versus SF. It's okay, I would say, one-on-one. It's about, I would say, maybe even just a tiny bit SF favored in the early game, but Clockwork plus Drow will just make this early game very difficult. So it will be for Ev support and Boba. Wait, yeah, okay, sorry, offlane Wind Ranger. Yeah, I think Wind Ranger needs levels a lot more badly than the Clockwork does.
Well, game number 1 soon to be underway. Virtus Pro facing off against Digital Chaos here in the first game of Group B International. I think that we're the quickest since that LGD Fnatic game finished up pretty quickly. And yeah, are you thinking that the DC have what it takes here against what I'm sure is the favorite in Virtus Pro?
I personally like DC's lineup a decent amount more. It's just the Wind Ranger I have a big question mark about. There's a ton of ways to deal with her. Like the Silence is really good, the Batrider's pretty good, and you don't want your Wind Ranger to be poor to the point where she might as well have been a support. And I'm worried that's what's going to happen to Forev this game. She does have Drow Aura, so I guess that kind of makes up for it. So that's the only hesitation I have with choosing DC over Virtus Pro. But Drow Ranger, it looks like a pretty good Drow Ranger game. Drow lineup game, rather.
I'm really interested to see if they if Wind Ranger's going to be able to bully the Ogre at all with that extra damage that you were talking about, because that would be normally the way that you play one of these like ranged offlaners with Drow Aura, right? Is you punch the support, force them back, and then you're secured a decent amount of levels and everything else. But Ogre is obviously known for being hard to bully around. He's a big bad bruiser.
Yeah, I don't know if you want your Ogre over there though to deal with the Wind Ranger. You want him to deal with the SF. Right,
oh,
that's the hero that you actually want to keep down in the early game. So normal Cog shenanigans coming out in the early game. I'm trying to do my predictions quickly. Who's going to get a lot of kills?
It's got to be Abed, right? I don't know. No one is also just a monster.
Most kills in the first 10 minutes.
Nine souls here for Shadow Fiend. I think he used to be able to get up to 18. It's not super easy though, because then you have to like sacrifice a bounty rune potentially. And I love this play by VP. This is like the big classic thing that's been going on against Shadow Fiend Clockwork is you try and roam in and kill him as he's going for the bounty rune. But it looks like DC sort of prepared for this. They brought 4 heroes to try and protect Abed.
And ooh, it looks like they were going to try and approach from the south, but they are approaching from the north. Boba is going to go up in front.
Trying to man the front of this. He will have cogs. Abed is there. He's going to walk forward, get scouted out by all of them. Boba ended up walking back away. Can he separate them? He is going to be able to, but the jump forward and Abed possibly going to die. Fairy Fire keeps him alive, but he will have to head back home. Now can no one get out of here? Not going to happen. Dubu drawing first blood. -2 for that Viper. We'll see if they can block off Solo as well. Bulba gets the body blocks, getting all that movement speed from the boots, and DC striking first. 2-0 to begin.
Whew. They didn't even kill Abed. He did have to use a Fairy Fire, but he already has 15 souls, so he's okay with that. And no one already died in the mid lane. I believe he did give up some intel, and it looks like 2 heroes have given up intel. Silencer stating at a whopping 38 seconds into the game.
We'll see if they can get Mason. The roll-in was a little bit slow. Not sure if he dropped the boulder there, if he even wanted to. He just wanted to get into lane and punch him a few times, but it is sort of a little bit of a weird dynamic now, because it's Mason left alone for the moment since they had to go and protect the Shadow Fiend, but now he's back in lane. Do you expect no one to have a really rough time in this matchup from this point forward?
Not too much, because they don't like. How do you actually kill him? You need a Clockwork to wrap around behind, and Clockwork is showing it. So he should be okay for a little bit of time. I mean, if Viper ever really feels scared, Shadow Fiend can just, or he can just run back. It's not like Shadow Fiend can stun or slow him. It's mostly just all on Boba. And looks like Ogre is going to be sitting around mid. And I would say more on the top lane is where we want to look. Is Pasha going to be able to put pressure on Mason? Because Mason, you do not want Drow Ranger to get level 6 early, because that's going to make your problems even worse.
As it stands, I mean, Abed is hitting for 99, or rather 89 damage at this early point in time in the game. It is quite hard to deal with. But that being said, no one here, 5 and 4 so far, and that's kept Abed back at least for the moment. With the creep wave going to be pushing in a little bit, I believe. They're doing a good job of keeping it there, even though there's the 2 range.
Still 90 damage though.
Yeah. They're pushing him back again. This is not the easiest thing in the world, and Bulba's going to have to come back here again to help him.
Yeah, he's a self, so he's fine. And yeah, this lane should, I would say, be a wash at this point. No one doesn't have any mana left, so Abed can actually maybe pull ahead a little bit in CS. Pasha is getting a lot though out of this top lane. He doesn't really feel scared at all.
It is going to be Lil heading down to get the bounty rune, so he's alone for the moment, but even still able to stay here and, you know, make sure that he's getting levels in spite of it. Bottom lane, 1v1 matchup, Ferev versus the Faceless Void. It seems like, for the moment, Ferev's been able to handle a pretty decent time of staying away from the Faceless Void and just dealing little bits of chip damage to him.
Yep. I was thinking about other offlaners that are ranged, and it's really only
Is Abed
just...
dead? What? Oh man, that's really not good. He just got ran down.
The double slow?
Yeah.
The 1-1-1. Oh, there goes most of his souls. Now at 9.
But other offlaners you were saying that could have been good in that
Yeah,
situation?
it's really just Puck, but they first banned Puck. So that's pretty much the only 2 offlaners that you could see with the Drow aura.
And, I mean, it does feel like it's going to be okay for the moment, at least. He's level 4, having himself a decent time, and topping the CS charts about 6 ahead of that Void. I mean, it's still looking like it's a pretty decent start at this point for DC. It's just that Abed is still sitting only at 7 last hits for himself.
Yeah, he is just kind of just sitting at tower, not really doing that much.
I don't know, is this like a problem? Like, it feels as if he's missing a couple of these CS that aren't like fully contested, or is it just that it's how scared you have to play against Viper?
I think the Ogre had a big part to do with it. He like kept pulling the wave back towards his side, and the positioning of the creep wave would have forced Abed to come down into the river, which just never really where you want to be.
More damage going in. Lil is chasing Mason down, 4 stacks on top of him, and DC going to lose their carry. It looks like Pasha will die, so that's a +2 for Dubu. Currently sitting with 6 stolen intel. Bulba also did get a haster, and he might be trying to wrap in here in a little bit. But looks like he has to wait for that perfect opportunity, and now maybe is that moment. Haste is worn off. He can't get in there in time.
They definitely need Bulba to make some more moves. He did a really good job of preventing the first blood happening, but he is not really doing a good job after that of making sure that Abed gets his farm, and he's trying to stack right now, it looks like, for Shadow Fiend. And that's really, I would think, the best move for him, especially with the Creeper in this position, and with that Observer Ward placed by Solo, there's very little room to gank no one.
Looks like also Lil is showing up here. They will spot out that means there's a ward up on the high ground. I don't even know if Lil dropped a boulder for that one. Like, as soon as they realized what was happening, he just decided to give up on it and scout out that there was a ward, there was a ping, and might even go to deward that in a little bit.
Yep. Now Viper's almost 6 too, so he can threaten solo kills on SF all the time now. Just need to TP scroll on Abed to feel a little bit safe.
Down bottom, Solo and Lil, this dynamic duo of like melee supports, they keep on moving around and sort of forcing whoever is there back and away. Looks like Ferev was just going to the shrine, still saving that point for the moment and getting the maxed out power shot. What's really going to be like the goal of Ferev in this game? Is he just like a lane pusher and a eventually tower taker? Does he have to be DPS?
Wind Ranger with Drow is always BPS. I mean, he does have that long duration stuns though. They don't actually have that much lockdown in their team, so he can have those long duration disables that you need.
Uh-oh. Well, the stun
He's
silence. Trying to get out of there. Yeah, he'll make that escape. So good decision there. He'll power shot solo as well on his way out. Does have 9 stick charges as well.
Right now, I think the Wind Ranger's main job is just to be a pain in the ass to the Void. Like, Void can't really go on a Wind Ranger. Anytime you go up to him, he's just going to wind run. And even if you want to Chronosphere him, you have to worry about the instant cast Wind Run coming out before. So, like, but you need to disable it at some point, or else he's going to land a shock when you're going to die. So it's not easy for him. And on top of that, Ramsey has to deal with 2 other forms of silence.
Oh, nicely done there. Can he get out? They're trying to chase in for this one. He will not have time lock for another 7 seconds, but Lil is there to keep his carry alive. We'll see if they can power shot. Not quite on the mark. That means that Ramses will escape.
Mason tanked up a few hits just so he could keep that siege creep alive. That was worth half his HP, it looks like, and is it going to be enough to keep the tower alive? The flame break.
Wanted to do it. It's taken and dealing a good bit of damage here, but oh, it looks like they're going to have to back out yet again. Pasha making sure that they aren't able to take that tier 1 tower. So we're about 7.5 minutes in. It's only been 2 to 3 as far as the kills are concerned. And in terms of net worth, it's Virtus Pro with a slight lead, but it does feel like, at least for the moment, DC are coming up on a timing when they can maybe start to group together and burn through these towers. Do you think that that's sort of the way the game needs to go for them?
Not when SF is this poor. Look at the net worth on SF. He's half Vipers.
Jeez.
Yeah, so they need stacks for him to catch up. And ideally some Dragonkin spawns on the side so that he can just triple raise those and get back into the game. Because right now he's poor. He did have 90 damage at the start, but it has not been enough to even come close to dealing with Viper in the early game. So yeah, he has jungle time. There's a triple stack there, but unfortunately no other stacks for him. They really need these T1 towers so that SF can buy some more time.
So is what we're learning here that an ogre in a lane is worth more than like Clockwork, Hogs Abuse, and Drow Ranger Aura, or was this just no one sort of outplaying Abed, do you think?
I think it's just Viper being one of the best lane dominators in the game.
Okay.
So that hero is dreaded in any matchup.
People talk always about how they don't like playing it, but I guess if you come away and win a lane that hard, it's you like winning more than you like not playing Viper.
Yep. Sure. It might have been a misclick in the mid lane too. Look at this observer ward inside the middle of the river.
Oh.
He might have meant to place a sentry ward there, and then instead they have. It looks like a misclick because they already have an observer on the high ground, and you generally just don't place wards inside the river.
Yeah, normally not. That's not the way that Dota's usually played. Oh, VP.
That's the funniest thing when you're like playing with someone newer and you're like, okay, we need vision on top rune, and then they just place a ward on top of the rune.
Yeah. Oh, I know. And, well, you can see up top here too. It's going to be a quick kill. Wind Run got off, but when you bring 4 heroes like that, it's going to happen. I mean, I think I placed. There's one time where I accidentally placed 2 sentries, but it actually turned out there were 2 observer wards.
Uh-oh, Bulba.
He's in trouble too. Solo, no point up and no mana currently for Fire Blast, so that will be the Clockwork escaping. And Dubu actually is going to scout out Pasha. This would be a decent kill for him, getting a nice little bit of intel again. He's starting to burn down a little bit low, but the juke around the trees means they will not find him. Pasha getting away with one there.
It's Clarity. Or sorry, his Tranquils are still up too, so that's good. Ramsey's getting a lot of time. Looks like he might be able to get this top tower down. I mean, he's getting a lot of damage on it. This is the Faceless Void who had a really rough early game. But now he's number 2 on net worth. Ramsey's solid performance.
Very happy with that one for sure. It is SF caught up a little bit. He's still, you know, a decent chunk, about 1,000 gold behind the Viper. But there are other heroes that are sort of making up for that as well, and it is Drow Ranger 6 that's online now as well. So the extra damage coming in to all those heroes will make this jungling a little bit more rapid.
Still need a lot more farm on SF. He's getting particularly lucky with this monk. He has a lot of magic resistance creeps, but no one has felt no pressure this game. He just sits in mid and just right-clicks the SF with impunity. No one even thinks about touching him.
has that health talent as well, so he's at 1,700 HP as well as 9 armor on him. He is very hard to deal with. Bottom lane though, maybe going to be something to happen, and Pasha has shown up to help out the Earth Spirit. Is he going to end up dying to that Arcane Curse? It does look like he's going to end up going down to Dubu, but Mason too might be the one that ends up falling. Frev trying to find something in return. He will have another power shot in 3 seconds. Can he actually manage to find Pasha? He's going to shoot one off, and instead they'll chase after Solo. So they do get out on the Batrider, and they only end up losing the 2 supports.
Looks like Drow Ranger wasn't able to spend all her gold before dying, unfortunately, so Mason will be set back a decent amount from that death. And with that, Pasha should be able to get his Blink right now. He didn't die in that last skirmish. That's great for VP.
Yeah, really great. And, you know, he's a hero that has a lot of other damage on the rest of his team, I would say, particularly no one at this point. So, you know, he can find those pickoffs with the Blink Dagger. Sometimes you run into issues where the rest of your team doesn't have that damage. Solo gonna place down a couple wards, get fantasy points for all those people out there.
Heck yeah.
Doesn't quite find Mason though.
Who'd you put in your fantasy lineup?
I don't know. I think I put Cuckoo in. Although for supports, yeah, I don't remember. I'll have to check in between games. That's the real meta though. Figuring that stuff out. Nobody from Group B, because they have 2 games versus 3 games for all Group A. Thought that was going to be a roll-in, but just trying to clear through the trees, make sure that nobody is scouting over there.
He thought that they had a reserve reward in between the T1 and the T2, and they saw Bulba running up, but he almost ran up the cliff, but he just backed down at the last second. Looks like Dubu placed a ward, and they know exactly where it is. And Bulba trying to scout a little bit with the Rocket Flare, and we'll also see where Virtus Pro is.
Vision, Solo coming in. Wanted to see if they could make something happen against that SF, but it looks like for now, DC just going to give up the tower. They don't want to fight if they know that they're going to end up losing the engagement. Hold off, get yourself some more farm on that SF, and then take the fight that you want.
Yeah, no one is crushing these towers, though. Max Nether Toxin.
Are they going to be able to force a fight here? They've got a lot of heroes in the area. Oh, that was a nice play. Ends up breaking the Blink Dagger. He will have it back up again in a second, but the Shackle onto 2 as well. Might be able to find 1 kill here and just get out. We'll see if it's indeed going to be the case or not. Bulba instead is just going to have to be the one that ends up falling. Ramsey's going to be able to run him down. But, you know, you'll take that gank. Get the rest of the team out of there.
They did blow global for that, though. And Wind Ranger was unable to connect on that last power shot, going for the super risky build on the Orchid first. This is a Mason special himself. I think he likes it. Might have influenced Forev a bit.
What's the thought behind this build here? What's the big play?
Probably deal with the Void, I would say. But they already have multiple silences, so it's overlapping defensive. And secondly, it gives you no defensive ability.
Top lane also, they found Abed, is going to get chronoed mid-animation, ends up dropping. So Lasso and Chrono used, but it's big for another hefty blow to this Shadow Fiend. He's still far behind, but you do see that there's like...
Bottom lane?
It's not incredibly far behind. All right, nice pick off there. Frev's going to end up going down. Bulba trying to see if he can kill off no one. Mason almost dead as well. He is going to end up being able to find that kill, but died afterwards. Help indeed.
That was a 4v1.
Oh my
and
god.
And he killed 2 of them.
So what you're saying is that no one's pretty big right now. Hard man to take down.
They just don't really have the damage without SF there. Drow went for Lance first. Lance is okay on Drow if you're actually hitting towers, but there's still a lot of towers up, and I don't think they're strong enough to just straight up push like that. But it is useful for Pyke. Pyke extremely useful against Face's Void, and I don't know. I still see Viper being a big issue. I like Silver Edge a lot versus Viper. You get rid of corrosive skin, and you also just limit his damage output, and you can actually kill him super easily without poisoning your entire team.
And they will have Global up again, but like you said, if they do end up, you know, being able to find that Viper, you saw what happened last time. Granted, that was without Global, but a lot of these things don't really matter that much because they're all passives anyways, so he doesn't care about Global Silence.
Nope.
So DC, again, searching for an answer. In your eyes, what's that like item? Because Shadow Fiend's also going for a Dragonlance, and that's just sort of more stats, right? Does he need to like wait for a BKB or something like that before he's able to fight? Or some other big damage item possibly?
I don't think he can wait for BKB.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what other item you go. I say Silver Edge, but Shadowblade is going to even be a long time coming, let alone a Silver Edge. So I don't think that's the item to wait for. What other things are we talking about? Wind Ranger, I guess, is going for Orchid, but I actually don't foresee Orchid making that big of a difference. It might get like 1 or 2 kills at the start, but Faceless Void already going for Manta style. He knows he's up against Global Silence and at least one other Silence in the Drow Ranger, so he's kind of already well protected, I would say, against the Orchid.
All right, well, DC did just spot that the Ogre TP'd in bottom, so they realize they're not going to be able to make a defensive rotation with the Ogre at the very least, and they're going to try and wrap around, see if they can find somebody else, and Pasha would be a pretty tasty pickoff. It looks like if they want to, they could go for that Arcane Curse. No, he blinks away! They scout it out. Oh, and that would have been a big moment if DC could have found that pickoff. Still might have been tough since he was under tier 1 tower. Jump forward, Pasha, he's gonna pull back in. The Wind Ranger, Global Silence is there, so they won't be able to chrono afterwards. And, well, never mind. They chrono him immediately after the Global Silence wears off, and now that's gonna be Forev brought down. One of the best D-push tools, and VP immediately running towards the Roach pit.
I thought this Wind Ranger was going to pay off a lot more for them considering their early start. But I think going for the Orchid, like even a mech I think would have been pretty useful for our team so they can actually have more team fight and not all die to the Viper. But I think the Orchid is just, it's too one-dimensional in that it's trying to deal with the Faceless Void, but it can't even deal with the Faceless Void. Maybe a fast Bloodthorn would actually be okay because everyone critting would sounds okay, but the problem is you just die.
Yeah.
You just get lassoed and they had to blow Global immediately, and then you have no mobility after. You can't actually run in and out of the fights at ease. Maybe when you get level 20 with the invisibility on the Wind Run.
And I mean, the other thing is, it's not even, you're still going to have to commit Global in a little while to deal with it because Void is going to have Manta style soon. So even dealing with him is not going to be particularly easy. Orchid alone is not enough. It does definitely feel like DC do not have that many options available for them, but VP, you know, they've been looking really solid and constantly making the right rotations, good reads.
They buffed up their Viper. I think that's a big difference between VP and DC this game. They look like they were about to get SF off to a really good start, preventing his first blood, giving him a lot of souls with the Drow Aura, and then in the mid game he just completely falsified and is unable to do any damage at all.
And this is, like, you know, quintessential too. You can just stay down here in the lane and there's nothing that they can do to really touch him. The nice part about Wind Ranger here is, you know, the low cooldown, the 4 mana regen. You should be able to keep the lanes pushed out, but Pasha now with the Force Staff used, caught back up again with the Blink Dagger, the roll in from Lil, the stun, the kick, the kill. No one on a killing spree. I mean, you sort of take those deaths though, right? Like, I don't know. It feels like there's just no other way to do it. You have to keep the lanes pushed.
Ideally. I'd say there are better ways, like power shouting from the fog, Arcane Curse from the fog, using Drow Aura. There are a lot of ways I think they can do it without feeding away deaths. I think if it's a support, it's okay, but Wind Ranger, you need items on her. Well, maybe not Orchid, but other items. The thing about Orchid is like it has to be like the perfect setup too. Like potentially you could Orchid a Bat Rider before he lassos on top of you, potentially, but that's really high risk as opposed to things like Maelstrom, Blink, which is a pretty safe build. Lincoln's, I think, it holds some value this game too, so you don't get lassoed. Like these are pretty good items that are generally just very safe. Like you're not going to get you're going to get value out of the item even if you die. For like Orchid, you're not going to get value out of it if you die, and it's I think. I kind of foresee his game being shut down too. I honestly don't see where it's gonna go now that Ramses already has his Manta style, and even if he's super afraid of the silence, he can still go for BKB. Right. And I don't think he really needs to, but if he just wants Pasha, or sorry, no one to do all the damage, why not?
Totally. Well, certainly it's a tough situation to be in right now for DC. VP for them, it's going to be tier 2 towers across the map that want to be taken next. You still have the Aegis for another 2 minutes. Do you think that they are in any rush at all to try and go for a quick tier 3 tower, or do you just go around and finish off all the tier 2?
Well, you know Wind Ranger is going to be useless. You know SF had a really, really tough game. And you still have very good anti-BKB. But they're far enough ahead that they can at least knock on it. They still have the Aegis for quite some time. Viper sitting at 2,400 HP with Strange Red.
And he also went for the Agi talent too, so it's not like he's lacking a ton of damage. The Sanj is there, the Hurricane Pike, and
he has plus 50 agility.
Yeah.
Look at his stats right now. It's incredible how much damage he does right now.
And he also is going to have Bloodlust there, maxed out by Solo. This is just, it's so hard to deal with. They're actually salving him while he's taking the tower damage to try and make sure that he doesn't drop too low. Tower gone, and DC, they smoke. What are you going to do at this point? There's nothing left. He has the Heaven's Halberd done now. They want to try and kill him off. Still another minute before Roche ends up going down. They are going to be able to get off the Orchid and the Global Silence, actually, keeping him back for the moment. Jump forward. Chronosphere is down onto 2. Can they kill him all off? There's the Magnetize. It spreads around a little bit as well. The Stun, the Silence. It's all gone wrong for DC in this one. Requiem of Souls comes out. No one is low. He wants to die here, actually, and the Raze is going to help it happen as the Aegis is going to be taken back. And the first lane of Barracks down at 22 minutes. GG, they don't want any more. DC got crushed in that one.
Wow, SF just didn't seem like he had a place in the game. I thought he was actually going to do decently well versus the Viper, especially given the start, but yeah, that was a 20-minute stomp. Looks like VP is as strong as always.
Yeah, VP really, really good.